Good evening and welcome to the Talk Right Show. I'm your host, Wayne Stennett, and tonight is Hot Tropics. We have two guests with us right now, and I don't see any more coming yet, but there's liable to be more coming. So to kick it off, we're basically the Talk Right Show interviewing and being interviewed by two authors chat show.
Pretty much, exactly right.
We have Nick Harvey with us and Douglas Pratt.
How you doing, guys?
Host of the two authors chat show. So Nick, why don't you take it from here and let me do some stuff.
Oh, okay. Well, welcome to our podcast, and welcome to the other podcast people to our podcast. This is kind of fun. We got two Nicks, we got two Tennesseans, and three Baldies. He's wearing a hat right now, but I guarantee you that there are full locks under there. I will give you a little bit of news here. I have spent the last week with fellow Nick, Brit Nick, Nicholas Harvey in Bonaire. And we talked all sorts of business stuff and writing stuff, but mainly we dove and ate a lot of good food. And that was absolutely awesome. But then Brit Nick stopped playing with me, and I was left to my own devices because Doug Pratt over there kept shoving this co-written book that the two of them are working on in their face. So I'm hoping one of them will tell us about this book, what it's called, and when it's coming out, because I think it's coming out pretty soon.
Really soon. So go for it, Harvey. Yeah. Well, we'll just jump in it. We just, Nick and I started talking about doing a little collaboration, and it didn't take couple of drinks over at Nink, and we came up with a storyline that was mediocre, and then we turned that mediocre storyline into a really good storyline. Mostly Nick, he comes through and cleans it all up. So
I'm Doug's secretary. That's what I do. He writes all this stuff, and then I go in and edit it a little bit. But
a lot.
Full project.
So yeah. So that's called Missing in the Keys. So I'm gonna give him a little bit. Nick, tell him about it.
Yeah, so it's in our sea adventure genre for sure, and it's all new characters for us. And just to go way out of my wheelhouse, I chose to a English female protagonist, because why wouldn't I? And then
what would possess you to do something weird like that? Yeah,
crazy. And then Doug chose a young American hooligan,
sarcastic white guy.
Yeah, from the Keys. So it's a neat premise. So our Charlie, our female protagonist, the story begins after a nice inciting incident chapter that Doug wrote, and is a really nice intro. Gets the juices flowing. Then we introduce Charlie. She's in London, and her father has gone missing. He's just a business guy, went to Florida, and she's not heard a word from him. So she's at a loss. She jumps on a plane, flies to Florida, and one thing leads to another, and she ends up with Grant Wolf. She's Charlie Green. He's Grant Wolf, hence the Green Wolf series. And then they start on this adventure of trying to track down her father. And it becomes clear quite quickly that there's some other people looking for her and her father. So fun adventures. And we so as Doug said, we had a few drinks at Nink, came up with an idea. Cheryl and I stopped by when we were going across country in the RV and visited with Doug and Ashley. And Doug and I sat down and did some plotting and writing for a few days. And then kind of dove in and got in, and we both been writing in between writing our other series. So we'd go a few weeks and then it'd be a chapter, and a few weeks be a chapter. And it became pretty clear very quickly that we needed to plot just a little bit more than we were both used to doing, especially Doug, who's a pantser through and through. So you kind of get a chapter back and it's like, okay, now what are we doing? What happened? I thought we were going to do. Yeah, what's going on now? But it ended up working out really good. We just took some breaks where we get together and go, okay, let's plan out the next section of it. Let's plan out this. Where's it going? And it's And I did my read through last week. Doug did his, and it's come out better than I hoped. I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, it's really good. It's gonna be fun. It's a lot of fun. A lot of some good dynamics between our characters, which I think has been that's really the fun part to write. There's a lot of good dialogue. Yeah,
We had
Cool,
so
cool.
much fun. We're going to do another one.
yeah. Already got one planned. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Wayne, you have a co-op coming up, I believe, with Matthew Stewart. Is that correct? You're doing a third in that series?
Yeah, we should start on it in about a week, or I should start on it about a week. Stuart's already been hard at work on it. He's probably got 20 or 30,000 words. And then I'll just start in at the top and just go through and add my 2 cents, and should be available sometime around the first of the year, we're hoping.
Cool. Is there a title yet?
No, that's the weird thing. Usually I've got my titles picked way in advance. So I can tell you the titles in the next 4 or 5 books. And then I write around the title. But so far we don't have a title for this one. It will be some classic rock and roll tune, I'm sure.
Very cool.
You better talk about them crutches leaned up against there, Wayne.
Huh?
You better talk about those crutches leaned up against your seat there.
Oh, yeah. I had a little bit of an accident a couple of weeks ago. Blew my Achilles tendon in my right foot and had to have surgery to repair it. So I have a boot on, and pneumatic boot. Got to inflate it. Got to pump that thing about 60 times to get it hard. And
what did you just say?
oh, did I really
No,
say
you
that?
can't keep a straight face. That's a soundbite right there.
We're gonna
So
let
when
that
See,
one
I
go. but
almost
no.
forgot. I almost forgot which podcast we were on. I was like,
Exactly.
Oh, I can't say
Let's start
that.
over. 5, 4, 3, 2. Good evening. Welcome to the Talk Right.
That would be the lead into our podcast. That's what we put in front of the music.
But I'll be in this boot for until about the time we go to Nink. And I can't put any weight on it, even though it's a walking boot. I got to keep it elevated. I got to walk on crutches until late September. I actually start physical therapy the week before we go to Nink. And then I'll have to put the boot back on to go to Nink and then come back and do more physical therapy. But by November, I should be back in the gym. And hopefully by the time March comes around, the next powerlifting meet, I'll be back to where I was before this happened.
There's another book in it.
I don't know about that.
You've done the workout, how to get fit book.
Yeah.
Now
How to not be
recover. How do you recover when you fall on your ass book?
From tank top to walking boot.
There we go.
I push myself too hard at everything I do. And we had a really good workout on a Saturday, a group session. And then we all went outside to run wind sprints around the parking lot. And I started out in dead last. And by the time we started our second time around, I was up to the middle of the pack. And then 3/4 of the way around, I was just about on top of the 2 in the front. And that's when it blew. And they were like in their 20s or something. And they run all the time. That's the first time I tried sprinting in 40 years. So power lifters and sprinting.
You
just
forgot
don't go
you weren't in your 20s, huh?
together. Yeah. The two just don't go together.
Well, let's see. I think we should briefly mention the time in Bonaire. Brittnick and I experienced a dive like no other. I have never seen anything like that. Britt had already seen it like last month, but thank goodness he dragged me out to see it on my last day, and it was phenomenal. It's called, and you can look this up on Google after you watch this show. The Ostrocod, Ostrocod, or is it Ostra?
No, you
Ostracod.
You had it first time.
Okay, it's one of those. And they're these little shrimp, and 4 to 5 days after a full moon, if you have no lights on, and that means no lights, about 45 minutes after sunset, they start rising up to the water column, and they start linking up. So there's usually 4, 5, 6 in a link, and you just, as far as the eye can see, links of lights. It was like being inside a Christmas tree.
Wow.
Unbelievable. And
Some
very
kind of
faint.
phytoplankton or-
No, they're a shrimp, a type of
Oh,
shrimp.
really?
Because they had glowworms in South Caicos, but they didn't hold a candle to this. Sorry, South Caicos. Ostracods win.
We got glowworms in Alabama, so they're just not very cool.
I think you're talking about like larval lightning bugs, though, right?
No, I don't know. They're not anywhere near that. There's a caves and stuff you can go to in Alabama where they just kind of glow. The whole wall glows. It's kind of neat, but it's not anything like that. So
It's a cool dive, and we go outside of town where there's no lights, so you don't get any light pollution around. So it's really dark outside, and we got in at kind of dusk, went for a bit of a dive for about 45 minutes, and so it's getting darker and darker and darker. And then you come back and just switch them off, and you hang, and they end up being between right around 20 to 25 feet, kind of in that range there. And there's some long weedy type coral growths, and they love being over the top of them, it seems. So there's one kind of section that's a little better than most areas, and it's pretty cool. It's pitch black, and you just hang out there. You can just kind of make out the silhouettes of your dive buddies or the glow from the dive watch, and it's just like these twirling lights going around you. So as long as you don't think about the fact that it's shrimp having sex all around you and getting in your hair and everywhere, that's pretty impressive.
that's why you stay down there so long, huh?
I did have
a shower afterwards.
But didn't you have, what was the glowing, what kind of glowing worm was it that you had in Timeless?
You mean in Deep Hex or in Timeless?
I think it was Timeless, wasn't it?
No, it's Deep Hex. He had the Turks and Caicos ones. Yeah.
Yeah. They're also
Turks and Caicos. Yeah.
Yeah, they're linked to the full moon too, although they are actually, I want to say they start 2 days before. I can't remember. Read the book. I wrote it and it's gone. I don't remember. It's not quite the same.
Keep it after that. So
no, I can't retain anything.
B for Bell has a question that I don't have an answer.
So good. Yeah. Well, let's have
that. She just asked, is it true that in Aruba you do customs there, so when you fly to the States you don't have to go through it?
Been there twice. Don't remember. Sorry.
I don't recall.
They give you customs anyway. You have that accent. They're like, I ain't American.
I get it. I'm normally
Australian. We don't want them in here.
I mean, I did notice that outbound you had to go through passport control from where you were leaving from, and then you had to go to customs in the U.S.
Yeah.
It seems like there's extra checkpoints.
I would say, I don't know. I wouldn't think they would, but I know.
Some places do that. So what's been really cool lately is some geezer called Pratt had a new release about 3-4 weeks ago.
That's been about 3 weeks ago. Yeah.
On
the 11th.
Loitering at the top of Sea Adventures along with Liable Charity, sitting in one of these seats that's been doing really well. Liable Charity has been sticky, as we call it. It's been hanging out there up in that top 5 pages.
It's been real consistent. Not as high. Usually I'll be up in the number 1 or number 2 spot for a long time, but the charity series just, it doesn't have the readership yet that the Jesse series has. It's only got 8 books so far.
It's tough up top there, though. It's more sales than it's ever been to hang out in that top 3. That's for sure.
I mean, look, you were up there too with Harvey. There was up there with Oro Verde. You just had a release, and the only person who knocked you out was Neil Gaiman. So you can't. Really...
That was pretty funny for a day. We were at the top for a day, and Doug and I were like 1, 2, 3. And then this guy I've never heard of called Neil Gaiman came in there with something called Monster something, Gods something, and knocked
American Gods.
Yeah, exactly. So
Oh, in travel adventure though, not
in
sea
travel
adventure.
adventure, not
Yeah.
sea adventure.
Not
Yeah,
it's in travel.
Knocked us down.
Yeah.
But then Doug put something on social media about it, and Neil Gaiman liked it. So that's our claim to fame.
That's it. Yeah. We're like, hey.
After he bumped us out, he liked it.
Oh, that's good. He tweeted back at me once where he put a picture of this monster on his head, and I did a little bit of poetry with the Neil Gaiman, and he liked that.
Yeah, he's pretty good about responding back. I think he's one of those that will respond to people anyway. So I've seen a lot of posts that share his things,
Or his assistant does.
or his assistant does. Whatever.
Yeah.
Then he's got a good assistant.
Yeah. Don Rich
That's right.
has one up there too now. So Don Rich just the TA gang have been banging out some books. So Don's Coastal Cruise, I think it is.
Yeah.
It's on my to be read list. Just popped up there, and he's been in the top 10 in Sea Adventures. Great launch for Don.
And if you jump over to the free store in Sea Adventures, the number 1 and 2 spots are Falling Out and Merciless Charity.
Oh, I didn't know
Yeah.
Merciless was free too. That's awesome.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
I was surprised by it. Apple contacted me and wanted to do a promo, and I said, yeah, sure. And then I forgot about it, and I didn't lower the price until like 4 days after the promo started.
Oops.
Ooh.
And then Amazon went and price matched it. So yeah, great.
Yeah, that's nice.
All right. Any other questions from YouTube?
Well, B for Bell just said that just Britt Nick, she just got your first 2 books.
Oh, sweet.
Your first 2 books in the AJ Bailey series, the Kindle and Audible. AJ Bailey's hot. She's fun. I like her.
Yeah. Just asked Cunningham. Cunningham's character in his book's got the hots. He's got the hots for them all. But he wrote in Graceless and Timeless. We had a lot of fun with Cunningham. Hey, Cunningham's new book that's coming out, which is it's Orange something. What's it called? I just read it. I just read a beta version of it.
But it tied into the races in Monaco.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. It's his character
I'll find
goes over to the Italian Grand Prix at Monza, and it's kind of based around that. And it's very Buck Riley. He gets his plane over there. He's got his partner over there. It's a really fun story, but it's just loosely based around the race going on.
Buried in Orange.
Buried in Orange. That's it. Yeah. It's very
His Purple Deceiver is what, 99 cents right now too. So
yeah.
Purple Deceiver. Well, while we're doing that, Steve Becker's book 1, 2, and 3 in his Storm series are 99 cents for all 3.
You can find all of these specials and deals and new releases just by going to tropicalauthors.com.
Tropicalauthors.com, and then up in the corner you'll see sign up for the newsletter. Do that.
Right.
You get lots of free stuff.
and
Or
for
lots
every
of cheap
10
stuff.
people, Britt Nick will sing you a song. So
Oh, this is a new rule.
What?
And we'll make it a really good one.
sorry, I forgot which podcast we were on again. So
Yeah. Jethro Tull, anyone?
Jethro Tull, Aqualung, that's his favorite. So
Oh, yes. Snot is running down his nose. Let's see. What else? I feel like I just got to let the words mumble at the end there. That way we're not, violating any copyright. Let's see. Do we have any more questions?
We can happily give Jethro, 10% of the total income
the revenue, yeah.
from the revenue from this live stream.
They're not going to give me anything if they listen to our podcast, believe me.
Well, here's something I'm going to just sort of put out there. We haven't finalized it yet, but now that I'm back from Bonaire and can somewhat function, although I just found out that half the appliances in my house have been destroyed by a surge. Let's see. We are thinking a bunch of tropical authors are going to be at NINC in St. Petersburg in September. And we'll talk about this more in the next podcast. But there are 2 Doc Ford's Rum Bar and Grill in St. Petersburg.
And we're going to find
owned by Randy Wayne White. And we are planning on having the 10 tropical authors who come into NINC, as well as a couple who can't make it, but who are close enough. We want to try to gather at one of these Doc Fords. So if you live in the area and you are into the tropical authors books, this is something we're going to try to do. I'm going to try to get in touch with them and see if they have like a room where if fans came in, they could join us at other tables. We'll see how that works. This would be, so what's the span of NINC? It's going to be one of the nights during September
The
19th through the 24th.
Yeah.
Somewhere in there.
I thought it was 23rd to 26th or something. Anyway,
No, it's the 19th.
I know there's
It's
a
the
one in front of the
19th
first
to
day.
yeah.
Okay.
the 19th through the 23rd, but this is going to be the day before, probably like Tuesday, Wednesday.
No, because some of them aren't going to come early. I might
Okay,
not
so
come
gonna do
early.
it.
So no, it'll be on one of our free periods, as we call them. Some of our dinners are catered and are big old events, but there's a few nights where we're left to our own devices. And on one of those nights, we want to be at Doc Ford's and ask any reader, come on down.
We should have something more solid by the next podcast.
Yes.
Last one before me.
That's right.
And we are going to do a live stream from NINC.
We are.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, we are.
Well, if you're lucky,
Well,
we're
yeah.
gonna be doing not a live stream because we're not that brave.
Oh, you guys are going to do
Of,
yours and then carefully edit it perfectly.
Yes, because I have a tendency to say things that I'm not supposed to, and our sound editor edits it out, and so
The two author chat show is so. I did it again. I said chat show.
That's
That's
appropriate.
exactly what
I
it
think
is.
that's very appropriate.
And see, they would either edit
But
that
you guys
out,
are so
or
professional
they put it
and
on the beginning and go,
well-spoken on
"Welcome
that.
to the
That-
Chat Show," and put echo on it.
hey, that's our new
Your show
logo.
is so
Welcome
much-
to the chat.
Your show is so professionally done and edited and everything. We can't hold a candle for that. We don't even try.
You've been taking the pain pills again when you've been listening to our show.
No, it's good. I learned a lot watching you guys or listening to you guys.
Ah,
This next
I
one's,
learned a lot being on their show. They asked me questions, and there were aspects of my early acting stuff that I had completely forgotten.
Now, is that
And
one
it all
out
sort
yet?
of came back. That one's up. Yeah. I was like,
Oh, okay.
oh, that's how
listen
I
to
got
that.
into that. Oh, that's how that happened.
It was cool. I learned a bunch
Totally
of
forgot.
I had no idea. I didn't know before. Is Vanna White in the background? Do you see that?
I
Yes,
saw
yes,
that.
I saw it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The window's open now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the fun thing about that is actually we have met and talked to some cool people on the show now that I know we know you, Nick, so that's but with some other people that we've just kind of reached out to see, hey, can we come on? And we've had some really interesting people that have come on, not just authors, but other people as well. At least one crappy one, but that's about it. So
I know, but we could talk about that person on this one.
we can.
This is a
No,
different
we're just-
show.
If
We're
we're
just
not
gonna let
lucky,
that one go. We're just gonna leave it at that. Yeah, but generally, it's been really fun. Actually, I mean, we've had interesting people, and we've learned a lot. People like Jill Heinrich, the incredible diver, is amazing. Just chatting with Nick is kind of like sitting around having a beer and having a good time and talking. It was really interesting. And then what are we tomorrow? Yeah, tomorrow morning, our show with Lisa Reagan, who's a huge best-selling author, and she was a peach. She was a lot of fun to chat with and really fun. So that's an interesting one. And she's trad published, so it was really interesting hearing her journey, and because she worked really hard to get trad published originally, which then of course fell through, and then she went indie for a little bit, and then found a way of getting trad published again. So she's got a contract now for like another 15 books to write. So it's interesting as we're all indies looking at it from that different perspective, So
There's trad people that are sick of it and want to go indie, and there's indie people who are sick of doing all the work and want to go trad.
Yeah.
It's fun.
So you have a couple of questions too. So
Oh, sweet. Bring them on.
all right. So one is when you guys write, do you listen to anything or do you like silence?
I use Brain FM. It's
Brain
it's an app that plays I want to say techno music, but it's deeper than that. It's like something you would listen to while hallucinating or something like that. But it helps calm your mind and get your thoughts straight. There's no lyrics or anything. It's just computer generated music. And it's pretty cool.
I listen to ocean sounds when I'm writing the Deep series, and I listen to alternative rock when I'm writing the Zombie Bigfoot books.
And Nick listens to Jethro Tull. So
Non-stop. Aqualung on loop. I actually like quiet, generally speaking, but I do have a couple of things that similar, just background. I have some white noise stuff. I prefer actually just kind of acoustic music, soft music. Kind of if I'm trying to shut something else out, I put the headphones on. Like when Sullivan was here, he was running around half naked, talking zombie stuff, and
yeah, I do. I make that ululation.
So
note to self, don't invite Sully over to dinner.
No, definitely not.
He shows up half naked, hollering like a banshee. That's fine. I don't listen to a lot. I actually generally write. There's a public place where I am right now, so I have a little bit of background noise, and there's like a radio station that plays and a lot of kids. So I just kind of listen to that unless I want to block something out. And it just happens to be whatever I know that I can just throw on. So
yeah, but what do you watch, Doug, while you're supposed to be concentrating on editing with me missing in the keys? What is it you watch?
So we were sitting there, yes, and sometimes this is a nice old. What this is an old Sears warehouse that shut down back in the 80s, and then they've converted it into like a mixed use. It's a really cool facility. People will come up here and take pictures because it's got the old, kind of like an old design to it. And so we're editing this morning and on the Zoom call, and I told Nick, I said, these two just really attractive girls were up here doing a photo shoot about 10 feet away from me. So I was like this. Oh yeah, that looks good. Nick. That's fine. That's fine. Yeah. Whatever you want, Nick.
Yeah, for about 3 chapters in the book, it was anything I wanted to put in there was free game.
Whatever he wants to do, it's whatever.
Yeah,
all of his
fine.
writing goes monosyllabic.
Yeah. We've got another question actually I see in there because I can see the chat. Do you have any rituals you do before, during, and after? Well, you really need to specify what act you're talking about when you ask that question. Yeah. I believe, how do you celebrate completing a book? Wayne used to do the shaving thing, right? Beard shave.
Yeah, I stopped doing that this year because it's just brutal hot, and having a big, massive beard in the summertime is not good.
And I should put in that anyone watching this, I have not dipped my lower face into milk. I am regrowing my beard post shaving or post diving. I usually shave it for diving. But rituals when I finish a book, honestly, there's so many little bits and pieces of marketing that have to happen that by the time I'm really finished with the book, I'm already well into the next one.
Yeah,
I should have a book is finished ritual. That's I'm gonna in the future. I'll let you know what it is.
You have to have a ritual. It's mandatory.
I feel like it should.
I don't know really what there's a ritual. I've done usually a nice little kind of down, like, where I have at least one day, especially while, usually while it's off being edited, and I go, okay, well, I got a day to kind of take a breather. Unless you have a missing in the keys that you got to
Exactly.
because you've been writing the other book and Nick's going, hey, why is my chapter not back to me? And I have to get it to him, in which case I finished the book and immediately wrote another chapter, and then he had to finish a book and I had a break. So when it was really kind of got this.
Or if
No,
you're
the last-
Britnick,
the
you've
last
got your
2 months.
Britnick book, and you've got Missing in the Keys,
Right.
and you've got Faceless, and
Yep.
you're doing
And
Tropical Authors newsletters.
Priceless, and
Yeah.
yeah.
The last 2 months.
Uh-oh. Yeah, he
Oh,
just
we
thought about what he was doing, and it broke his internet.
It broke, isn't it?
So you all, no one can see him right now because he's
You know,
frozen.
he screenshotted that right now. He is heading out to go diving.
Wait, I'm going to screenshot this. Hold on. There, I'm going to put this. Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, he's just
He's
wow.
frozen.
Look
Frozen.
at the lens protection he's got on those glasses. I have some of those.
I say, well,
Let's see. I had a question for Pratt. My mom's in Tennessee. They're on the west side. I know the east side's getting slammed by storms.
yeah,
Did they cook
terrible.
up past you?
It was storming this morning when I first got in. But it's actually
you actually
sunny.
dodged the bad stuff, right?
Yeah, we dodged the bad. It's really only starting about Knoxville, Chattanooga area.
Yeah.
So it looks like it's maybe Crossville, that kind of area. Middle Tennessee is getting a little bit of it, but I don't think even Nashville's getting
good
much.
on you. It seems like Memphis
Mhm.
always gets the crap kicked out of it. So
No, we try.
Nice you
It's
missed it.
Memphis, but we
Yeah,
can handle it. It's Memphis. We don't mess around. Yeah.
Wayne, what's the weather like in Charleston? Because aren't you on the tail end of this system moving across?
We're just having thunderstorms just about every evening. It's been hot and humid like it is in summertime every year. Other than that, I can't get in the pool to cool off because of this.
That sucks. Yeah.
The stupid boot. Can't
Yep.
and you really can't, I don't know, put a dry bag from your diving days on it and cinch it tight.
They say, my doctor says, no, don't do that.
Man,
What if you duct taped it to the top of an inflatable pool,
yeah, I was gonna
pool
say.
toy,
yeah.
like one of those floating swans?
I did get in the pool the other day. I got on the first step and I sat down and kept my boot up on the side and just kind of floated there with just only my face out of the water.
That sounds pretty good. I mean, why not?
It was refreshing. Yeah.
So here we have another question for you. So,
Okay, good.
So we have two things. Bill Black has invited us all to the Treasure Hunters Cookout and Reunion.
Wait,
I
when's
just read
that?
about it. It's April 27th in Wabasso, Florida.
Wait, so we're talking about next year? I don't know what I'm doing
Yeah.
next month.
Next
But-
year.
But Bill,
Next April.
if you're watching us, remind us in
Yeah.
March of this.
We're gonna
Actually,
bring
no,
books-
February.
it's a-
February.
Bring books and hang out at the largest conglomeration of unrealistically optimistic people on the planet.
What's
the
the
Treasure
town?
Hunters. It's at Wabasso, Florida.
Wabasso.
I will. I would do
Wabasso.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, well,
He's
that might be a good
You
spot
gotta-
to
you
have a nice little tropical authors table set up. We can just get a handful of us manning a table and sell some books there.
You got to be from Florida to pronounce half the towns.
That's true. Yeah.
Wabasso. Yeah.
Yeah. I
You
mean,
think that bad? You should go to Mississippi, where all the towns have way too many letters and they already can't spell anyway. So, so we have another question while we're at it. Are you back with us, Nick?
I am. Hey, we had a green
Okay.
flag.
Did
Did
you?
you really?
Did you really?
Sure.
While you were blacked out, I ain't buying it.
Maine, the Nick is a poo-pooer of green flashes.
Only because they were like, there was. I'm like, I didn't see nothing, and I was filming
You
it
have-
too.
But you're blind as a bat. You're like peering over under through the glasses, over the glasses.
Oh, no.
trying to- You're blind.
I'm good at distance with the glasses on.
They've been little ones, but Cheryl assures me there was a green flash out there tonight.
I would.
I
I would trust Cheryl. See, Cheryl.
I
said
got a
it.
new pair of glasses the other day. I have prism glasses now. Normally I see double vision. I see two images like this. And these prism glasses bring the two images together so I can drive again.
Nice.
So
Awesome.
you've
Did you-
had two wives for how long now? You've been dating twins for how long? You're like, wait, Greta's only one.
Did you ask the doc about putting prisms in a dive mask?
Absolutely. The prism that's on my glasses right now is a peel off. It's plastic.
Oh, wow.
They
Very
can make
cool.
them for, they can make them for anything.
Hmm.
Even-
But I would think that if your glasses are this close to your eyes and the mask is further out, that they would need to be a little different.
yeah, they would have to be slightly different.
Don't be technical. Don't be ruining it for everybody.
A real low profile mask sits almost against your, almost.
Yeah,
against
they're
your-
close. But those stick-on things in the mask, I had readers for a while that you buy them and you stick them on and they glue. Yeah, they start floating around.
Are you
and start the
reading
mask
a
up.
lot? Are you reading a lot while you're down there?
Yeah, my computer, and I started having to use them, but my fantastic Shearwater Terek has such a nice LCD screen. I don't need them to read it.
There.
This is true.
We have some more
Shearwater does
questions
not
for you.
require exceptional lenses. You can see it
Unashamed
from any
plugs.
distance.
So another question for you is, what is next after Faceless? Is that series done, or is there more to come?
Wayne?
Right now, it's been shelved, but the idea for Ruthless is still there. It's hard to get everybody together at one time on the same subject, especially when one of them is an extremely busy person. So
And starting a
That's Nick
brand
Harvey,
new
right?
series.
yeah. So yeah, we got it on the shelf for right now. The idea is still there, and Nick's idea. I mean, it'll work great. I mean, they're set in two different times, but the flashback, something like we did with Timeless.
Well, to
Yeah.
properly use the characters of one of the people we want to use, you need the flashback, and
Absolutely.
it enhances it. So there is a book, and if you've been to Tropical Authors and gone to our special books, you probably know it's going to be called Ruthless, and it may happen, but I'm thinking 2024 at the earliest.
Yeah, I don't see we'd be able to do it this year at all. I've got too much on my plate for sure.
But if we get a certain person to sit down with us and we ply him with rum at Doc Ford's, I think we can kind of force it to happen. That's
rum cures
plan.
everything.
Is there any chance we can get Randy Wayne White to show up at Doc Ford's?
I
Who knows?
don't know. I mean, I realized after Deep Shadow, which has been a marvelously successful book, that Randy Wayne White had a book named Deep Shadow.
I invited
So
him.
he might
publicist-
not want.
I invited him, and his publicist replied back that they would get the information to him, but I haven't heard anything.
Well, I mean, if we announce that 12 tropical authors, because 10 attending NINC and 2 others are going to be at Doc Ford's, and we tell him that, that might
Maybe. Yeah.
tempt him.
It might make him run too.
Oh no, we would worship the guy. He'd have a great time with us.
So another
That-
question
that
for
would be
you,
super cool.
Nick. Will Boone and M ever go on a Disney cruise?
Okay, I actually set up that Emily wanted to force Boone on a Disney cruise. And the thing is, I've done Broadway. I've done Newsies, which is a Disney show. 2 of my very good friends were Pumbaa and Timon in Lion King. 8
Oh, really?
years for one of them, 12 years for another. And actually, the one who played Timon for 8 years is now going into his 3rd year playing Pumbaa as he got older.
That's what happens to all of us.
Both of them worked on Disney cruises. And another buddy of mine in a Broadway show worked on a Disney cruise. And in fact, when I wrote Deep Devil and I was designing how these people would take down the ship, it was these people who worked on a Disney cruise who gave me the insider information. But yes, I feel like anything that Boone doesn't want to do, Emily will go out of her way to make him do it. And that includes karaoke, Disney cruises, and going to Dollywood. These are all things that are going to
That'd be
happen.
awesome.
Yeah. But right now I'm working on the prequels. That was why I went down. I joined Brittnick in Bonaire. I also popped over for 2 days to Curacao because Boone worked in Curacao in my backstory. So what I'm going to do is write 2 short prequels. I guess
Let me stop you right there.
long prequel. Okay.
Thank
All
you.
right. They're long.
They're going to be novels, Nick. They're not going to be novellas.
They're going to be
novels.
short. They're going to be bigger than any novellas you've read, shorter than any of my novels. But one will be Boone starting out in Tennessee. Kingston. First scene is in Kingston, Tennessee. He's putting rocks in his swimming suit pockets because he wants to breath hold in the Clinch River. And Emily is going to be starting out in London, Southampton, Barbados. Basically, both prequels will show how they got into their love of the sea, and both will end where they meet on the dock in Bonaire. So that's the plan. So if you're looking for a brand new what happened to Boone and Emily after Deep Hex, I'm not sure when that's going to happen. Right now, I want to sort of go back in time and see what they were up to.
So,
That's
hey,
fun.
Nick, I have an idea for us.
Uh-oh.
I think Nick, you and I should do a story sometime together. But let's make Dolly Parton our hero.
Yes.
And we could do a Tennessee. We could probably get Barron's involved too. He could write with us. We could do Dolly Save the World.
Dolly Parton, Vampire Hunter. I mean,
There you go. Yes.
Oh, I freaking love Dolly. She's so great. Oh, that's one little fun thing. If you read my books, Boone, before college, outside of high school, interned at the Ripley's Aquarium in the Smoky Mountain Aquarium in Gatlinburg.
Nice.
I have been in talks with them. I'm going to get a behind the scenes tour. I'm going to talk to their dive safety officer. And so this prequel will have 2 or 3 chapters of Boone in an aquarium in Gatlinburg, Tennessee. So that's going to be fun.
That'll be fun.
This is Gatlinburg alone would be fun anyway. So you'll
That's true. Well, he's going to go drink it. Well, the thing is, I don't think all of this is in the past.
Yeah.
So I don't think that corn liquor place was open at that point.
Yeah. So another question for you from Bill Black, who says, what is everyone's favorite story setting that they have visited? So
Favorite story settings, what?
that you've been to, that you've someplace you set a book that is your favorite so far is where you've actually been.
I'll get mine out of the way. Saba.
Mine was just north of there.
Just north of it.
St. Martin.
St. Martin. Harvey.
Gotta be Caymans.
Caymans. Okay. I'm gonna go with the one I'm writing right now, which is Puerto Vallarta, and I just loved the city. It was a fun city to go to, and the story I'm working on right now, which is Playa de los Muertos. That it was just a fun one to do. So it's cool.
The Beach of the Dead.
Yeah, that's what it was. It was initially. It was when the first, like way back in the 1700s, it was a cemetery. So I guess they moved because the bodies aren't there anymore. But now it is. It's got a really cool pier. When we visited Puerto Vallarta and we found La Playa de los Muertos, I went, that's a book title if ever I heard it. And so
Yeah.
I was like, I got to come up with a storyline, and I couldn't justify bringing Chase Gordon over there, so I was like, I needed a new series, so I'm starting a new series with that. It's been a lot of fun to write anyway. So I think
You're gonna love writing prequels, Nick. Writing prequels is so fun because you know how the character is going to turn out. So all you have to do is create the mold and then pour him into it. Well, I just finished the first super prequel, A Seller's Market, which takes my main character, Jesse McDermott, back to when he was 17 years old. It was a lot of fun. It's a really, really good read.
Do you have any trouble, Wayne, with like jumping ahead? Like when you're writing along, you've got to give him a character arc, so you know where he's going to be, but he's not there yet. So you've got to kind of build that in there without like adding it in.
Yeah, you got to kind of dial it back, and then the things that he does now in the present time, and the things, all of his, idiosyncrasies and everything. He learned those when he was younger. So in this book, he's learning a lot of these things. I don't want him to learn all of them, but there's going to be quite a few. But and then each successive book will be set in a place where he goes on leave while he's in the Marine Corps. And so he's 20 years in the Marine Corps. He had 21-month long leaves, and he's able to, wherever he's stationed, he goes to some tropical climate and blows things up. In this one, he's blowing up a boat.
That's
So is it
The guy blew
Wayne
up this car.
or Doug? Which one of you just had the weather
The
service?
sound alert. Yeah.
that wasn't me.
They've been doing it 2 or 3 times a day, every day for the last almost a week.
I mean, it's been bonkers. I feel we're all tropical authors, writers, so I feel like the tropics have come to New Jersey. I'm looking out right now. I see super creepy skies, and I have a brand new roof now. I have new culverts on both sides of my house. I've never seen the rain. It's insane. Just as I've been talking now,
Bring it on. You got everything
craze.
set.
Well, except that I'm not sure that my sump pump is functional anymore after that surge, because it was outside of where my electrician could get to it. He's like, I think it's working.
How big's the stump? Can you get a bucket into it to start bailing?
No, not really. It's a slit. Yeah.
Just stay down here, Nick. Look at the sky we got here. But then again,
my
if you'd
God.
stayed
Looking pretty now.
if you'd stayed another week, your house would have been leveled by the time you got home.
No, I'm amazed I didn't go home to a freaking charred ruin.
Little
Yeah.
embers.
And I realize we're live, but frickin's okay to say. Yeah. Although, you know what? Bonaire has fire ants. I wouldn't. I'm from the South. We know we have fire ants in the South. And here we are. I'm next to a tropical ocean, and I'm getting suited up, and I'm like, what the heck? And I look down, and my legs are covered in fire ants.
Suddenly
Going
gears
down
up in a
into my
pool of
dive
fire
suit.
ants.
Hey,
I
y'all.
spent the rest of my trip with these welts just stinging and itching. Oh my God.
Y'all, meet our new dog, Millie, here.
Yes. Hey, Millie,
Very
Millie,
cool.
where are you going, Millie? Come back.
She's getting huge relative to how she started. Millie.
She's 23 pounds of pure energy.
Yeah.
Oh, look at
I
that.
dare anybody to have a puppy and not giggle. And when we got her, she weighed 6 pounds. She was about this big, and now her tail is this big. But she's not going to get much bigger. She's a part dachshund and part something. Just a rescue mutt, and we love her to death. She's a lot of fun.
Cool. We got a dog in our new story
Yes, we do. Yes.
And a cat.
and a cat called Stanley.
Cat. Yep.
A cat
Yep.
called Stanley.
Yep. The dog is named Wrench, and he's actually named after my dog. So I kind of modeled him after him. He's he's kind of a Labrador retriever with maybe a hint of pit in him, but he's a little brown dog. He's a great dog. He's very active and energetic, but we got him in the story. He's a good character right there. We had a lot of fun with him too. So
He's got a great part. Stanley doesn't have a very big part, but maybe in the future he will. But but Wrench has a great part, and of course my character comes over and she's okay with cats, but she doesn't really care for dogs, and the dog loves her. So that's
of course, that's the way it works, right? And we'll probably have to do some photo ops with Wrench at some point.
yeah, no kidding, huh?
Do we have any more questions on the YouTube? We want to make sure.
Here you go. Will Boone ever see his dolphins?
Where's the fun in that? I feel like the moment Boone sees his dolphins, that's like jumping the shark.
Yeah.
He was going to see a hammerhead that
But he
Emily
missed
was
that.
teasing him with in Deep Hex, but my editor cut it. She's like, "Oh, this is unnecessary." I'm like, but
The hammerhead.
Denied
Hammerheads are
yet
never
another-
unnecessary.
no. So I saved the entire thing as I wrote, and I thought, I'm going to start a book that's
You
Boone's
just put it
story.
right there. Yeah.
He's going to see the hammerhead.
I was going
finally.
to say, yeah.
And come
I'll
up,
put
and
it-
Emily's ready to tease him, and he's like, "Nope, I saw it." Yeah, no, all of that is based on and if you read my afterword, you already know this, but I've had a bunch of actor buddies. We go diving, and there was one year I was doing a Broadway show, and when you're in a Broadway show, everybody is jousting for the weeks they want for their day off, and I couldn't get it when my dive buddies were going. They went to Grand Turk. They dived off the wall in Grand Turk and had free swimming dolphins. I'm like, you bastards. So no, I've never seen free swimming dolphins. I've never seen free swimming mantis. I've never seen free swimming whale sharks. So I'm passing my frustration on to Boone.
We do down in
Those
Gulfport
would be
where I
awesome
keep my
to
boat.
see.
Yeah, we have them come up every time I put the boat in and take the sailboat out. I have dolphins all over out there in the Mississippi Sound.
Oh, I see them off the
I mean,
bow
that-
all the time, but I never dive.
Yeah,
I
But
got
we did
to-
when we.
I got
I've
to
seen
see
them- I've
dolphins
seen
in
them
the key.
diving. I've seen lots of
Oh, wow.
sharks diving, but never a whale shark. That's on my list.
I've been in the water with whale sharks. I got to do. We did a
That's
trip
gotta be
specifically to do it. Yeah, it was pretty. That was pretty amazing. And I've been the manta rays. There's a night dive in Hawaii with manta rays where you sit on the bottom with lights facing up, and they come in and swoop down on the plankton. And
Wow.
That was phenomenal dive. It was really cool. And but I've never seen a hammerhead. Now a hammerhead has seen me, but I've never seen a hammerhead. So we were doing a dive against debris in the Keys, and we got this rope line we're trying to cut out on the floor. And I'm down there with my dive buddy, who was a girl that worked at Rainbow Reef with Cheryl, and we're cutting all this stuff out. And I hear this clanking, clanking, clanking. Someone's banging a tank. But we're like silted out and buried and cutting this thing out. And I hear clang, clang, clang on the tank. We're like, yeah, we'll look in a minute. We'll come help you in a minute. And finally we get it free. And then we go over, and we found out when we get back on the boat, the hammerhead swam right over the top of us.
Oh,
Right over us. Went right by her, the girl who was banging a tank, right over the top of us, and kept on going. Never saw it.
keeps your wetsuit dry then, doesn't it? Or clean.
Well, we're coming up on the hour here, and Doug, is there any more questions there on YouTube?
So Bill asked one more question. He said there's a lot going on along the Venezuelan border with Colombia. Anyone thinking of using that as a setting? I haven't thought of it, so no.
I'm a little close to it right now.
I've used
Yeah.
it, both of them, a couple of times.
I have a beta reader who is beating me up to bring back Ana Munoz, who's running the Cartel de las Soles in Venezuela. He's like, if you don't bring her back, I'm going to stop beta reading for you. But I'm like, she's in Venezuela, so if I do Trinidad Tobago, I'll do her. But there's a possibility, if you read the Boone prequel, that there may be a Colombian element. There are some
cool.
islands that Colombia owns that are popular for diving, but not if you don't speak Spanish. But I'm thinking of maybe trying to use that and find someone that can teach me Spanish.
And Bill also says, he says, if any of us would like to spend a day on one of the treasure boats, they'll be working here. I don't know where here is, Bill, so you better tell us that, for another 3 to 6 weeks, depending on the weather. That would be
Is it
cool.
close to St. Pete?
That's what I was going to say. If you're close to St. Pete,
East.
we could make a day out of that.
Man,
Due
I'll
east
be-
about 120 miles.
yeah. I'm,
Oh, really? That's
uh,
it?
I'll be in the Keys after Nink. We go right after Nink, we go down. In fact, the 29th and 30th of September is when I have my dive event that we're putting on. And we're going to go dive all the wrecks that are in the book, Wrecks of Key Largo, in the story. So we've got a bunch of readers and friends coming down and spending a couple of days with us doing some dives. That'd be really cool. So
That'll be fun.
it's a little further out than 6 weeks, though, unfortunately. I'd love to go out and spend a couple of days.
That
with
would be cool.
treasure
Yeah.
boat.
Yeah, Bill,
Yeah.
if you ever did again, we'd love to do that. So it's gonna be kind of tough. he said Sebastian. I guess he said that earlier too. Sorry, Bill. But yeah, that'd be kind of fun thing to do. Wow, check that out.
I searched Sebastian Inlet and lived.
Yeah.
The Monster Hole. That was my favorite surfing spot when I was a kid. Just on the south side of the inlet.
Yeah. So
All right. Well, we are now right at an hour, so we're going to go ahead and close this up. And because Greta's got dinner on the table, and Jordan's looking at me impatiently. Thank you guys for being on here. It was a lot of fun, as always.
oh yeah.
I also want to thank our sponsors, and this time I'm going to get them all right. Of course, Tropical Authors and Aurora Publicity, Pirate Radio, Latitudes and Attitudes, How Not to Sail, and Down Island Publishing.
Cool.
Thank you, guys.
Hey,
I
thank you.
got it right. I read it. I wrote it down.
Night all.
Good night,
Night.
everybody.